Whoa. Hey everyone, welcome to the Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. I'm your host, Coach V, and I'm joined by my co-host and bud, Dr. Dry.
Let's get this money.
And the oldest, youngest man in town,
Peeps.
Peepaw. All
That's
prayers.
Big
Peepaw
Pete.
needs prayers this week. He needs a lot of prayers. He needs hands laid on him. He is guilty of the sin of rage and wrath. He is on a rampage, and everyone needs to look out today. So week 1 in the books, what I think is the most fantastic week of the year, the most exciting show of the year. I mean, I think the God Squad show and week 1 show are right there. So how has y'all's well, here we are. How was your week of fantasy football?
For being so full of rage and choosing violence, it was pretty good for the most part. Won 2 out of the 3 leagues, so we'll take that, and got the high score of any team in 1 leagues. And the 1 league we're all in, I'm a bit salty. Whenever the other leagues I'm in, we've converted over to the playing against the median, and the dynasty we don't play against the median. I'm just a bit salty in those games when you end up with the second or third highest score, and then you still get a loss, and you're tied with the people who scored 50 points less than you and still lost. And I'm like, you don't feel deserved. It feels, I feel hurt. It's just we'll set that aside for a later time. It's just my personal feelings on it.
Yeah, maybe there's someone that you're particularly angry with.
I don't name names on this show. That'd be rude.
Lay hands on Peepaw.
See, he needs help. He needs
But
some holy water.
Overall, not bad. 1, 2 out of 3, I'll take it.
Okay.
Hey. Well, I was ready to quit fantasy football because everything that I don't know. My life's work is fantasy football, and I felt like I knew nothing. Just like I don't know. No one was scoring. It was awful. I went 5-1 at the end of it because I went to the altar in the 11th hour and prayed for CMC to get hurt, and he did, and that helped me out in 2 of my matchups. Coach V gave me a scare by putting in Tyler Conklin at the end because someone had Jordan Mason, and it is Mason season. But pulled out the victory. But I was scared. I was scared whenever that last garbage time drive. Tyler Conklin was right there. If Tyrod Taylor would have looked a little more to the left, he would have got that tutty. So anyway, 5-1, 83%. I'm happy with it. My teams are very shaky though. My dominant dynasty team that I have, it's not looking good. We might miss the playoff. We're about 1 injury away.
And this is week 1. Week 1 is when you freak out over your team. I feel like even though I'm 0-2 this week, I'm really happy with both my teams. Like, we have a good setup. We were really high scoring, just had a weird CMC thing. I had a lot of people go off on my bench. So, like, I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it. But, yeah, that's week 1. Week 1, whatever, you can't win or lose the whole season in week 1. So, everyone, don't freak out. Don't overreact. But that's what we're probably going to do the entire show is overreact on these things. So, when it comes to week 1, there's a lot of reaction and overreaction. Where do y'all feel like you're overreacting?
For what it's worth, it's all warranted. I don't care who the players, it's all warranted to some extent. But if it makes you feel any better, everyone that you probably had that sucked equally sucked on your opponent's side, more than likely, because overall it was a really bad week. I can't remember if it was Sunday night game or what game it was, but it was a stat mentioned about the number of touchdowns this week versus in previous years, and it was like halved. So it's all over the place. Hopefully, this isn't the theme for this season, but keep Don't overreact. Don't sell your players. Don't rage trade like some of us have done in the past.
Don't
But
do it. You'll regret it forever.
keep true to your guys that you like, and there's brighter days ahead. Unless the guy's injured, and then you can only hope for the best.
Right.
Yeah, so where I think it's an overreaction, what we saw was a lot of first round, second round picks not show up. Just not treating us nice, not showing nice touches, and barely getting touches. And so, I mean, we had that going on. The big thing is, I don't know. And another thing I've kind of noticed this, just kind of a theory. I think once a receiver gets paid, I don't know. This is a new thing. Once they get paid, they kind of suck. Like, I mean, like the only first round pick that I know that like really, really came through was Tyreek Hill. And other than that, you have a bunch of guys who either just got paid or want to get paid, and they're putting up mediocre numbers. And anyway, I'm not saying like, but this isn't a week one overreaction. You get paid, you end up sucking. So yeah, just drop St. Brown, drop CeeDee Lamb. Make sure you drop all those guys if you're panicking. But we're gonna stay calm because it's just after week one.
Yeah. It's just
Don't jump.
There's definitely a lot of like quarterback reaction over reaction. I've heard Michael Penix watch list. I've heard Jameis Winston watch list. I've heard, which that one might be warranted.
Yeah.
I've heard Mason Rudolph watch list already. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks who just, who didn't come out looking too fresh. Levis just like shitting his pants in the fourth quarter. Just like especially like when he was on his knees after throwing that interception, he looked like he kind of shit himself right then and there, and he was just like ashamed of it. But so yeah, I did a lot of quarterback overreaction, but a little bit of that is warranted because like Deshaun Watson, we knew he sucked. Like we knew this isn't going to work.
You remember that one time in college, whenever you and I were going to the gym or something at MTSU, and I shit my pants? I thought it was just a fart, but it came out, and anyway, I think we still we had just gotten there. It wasn't like we were leaving or anything, so just thought I'd share that. So I mean, if you are someone who shit their pants, or you shit the bed, or you're one of these players, just know like you can get through it, and you're on your best days are in front of you. So I overcame it, and I think that was the last time I sat my pants. So it's been a good 13, 14 years now. So you can definitely overcome it. So just keep your head up.
For what it's worth, I did hear a stats today. Daniel Jones last year probably finished as quarterback 32 on 1. Week 2, quarterback 1. So, aside from the fact that he sucked the rest of the time, it is what it is. But what? Mark Andrews. I'm slightly offended, but don't get me on that train tonight. So
oh, you'll wait till we get to a certain award.
I'm not a likely owner, and that has nothing to do with it. That's my own 2 cents, and we'll save that for later.
All right. Are we ready for some awards? It's our favorite time of year to give away awards.
Let's say favorite time of the week.
Favorite time of the week. Yeah. Well, whatever. It's award time. So our first award is sponsored by Hillshire Farms. And for those new to the show, the Hillshire Farms Holiday Cheese and Sausage Cracker Gift Basket of Disappointment Award is named after that piece of shit gift that you get at Christmas from some stranger who barely knows you. And they give you meat and cheese for Christmas. And they grabbed it because they put it on that front cap display right when you walk in at Walmart. They didn't even they just chose the gift based on the distance they had to walk. There was nothing else choosing that gift for you. And so it's a disappointing gift. You're like, yeah, it's fine. I'll probably eat it, or I'll just stuff it under my bed like Dr. Dry does. And did you check under the bed? Is it still there?
No, I usually save and eat those a couple years after, and whenever there's like nothing in the house and I'm looking for a nice snack, I'm like, well, this 2-year expired holiday meat and sandwich and cheese, that would be good. And then and you have to do so much effort to you got to open up the little extra packaging that the sausage is in, and then you're not even sure if you should cook it or not, and so you got all that going on, and you have to work so hard. You have to cut it. And anyway, you know me. I like my meals where you can just pop it in the microwave, heat it up, or even none of that. Like I can survive on chips. I don't need all this fancy stuff that everyone else does. I'm built different. So, the holiday basket, it is for me, but you're still very disappointed if you got it. It's like, oh, you didn't care about me enough to even go to Bath and Body Works.
So who are our players that let us down this week, Hillshire style?
Top of
Everyone.
my list as a Pittman owner in one league is Michael Pittman. That offense, I don't know if it's trash or if Anthony Richardson is just trash for fantasy purposes. If you don't own him as a quarterback, that's how I felt the entire time. So Pittman though was on the field for 89% of the snaps, 8 targets, 4 receptions, 31 yards. Richardson in a total had 19 pass attempts all game. All game you have 19 and with 9 completions. So Pittman had 42% of the target share, which is great. Love to see that. But with a guy who throws 19 times in a game, that's not great for fantasy purposes. Um, I'm a little worried about that. Love to see as much as he's on the field, but um, hopefully things pick up. He did fine this week. I think he got just under 10 points, so I'll take that. But still not great. He is my Hillshire Farm Award winner for this week.
Okay, very nice.
I've got a few. Again, you're not dropping these people, but you're very disappointed in them. CMC, Hillshire Farms winner. He fucked a lot of people yesterday. And maybe I should put that big 49ers logo on here for not telling us about the injury. But I wasn't personally affected, but he really let a lot of my friends down. So I don't appreciate that. And so CMC, just I don't know, like it's the beginning of the year. What are you getting hurt for? You didn't even play in the preseason. Like, be okay. And like people are so invested in you and want you to do well. You're one of the you're the only good white running back in the NFL, and now we have nothing. So CMC, very disappointed in you, and you're in danger of going on another list. Jamar Chase, just play the game, buddy. Like, you're bitching about not getting paid, and you put up 12 fantasy points. I don't know. I'm very worried about Jamar Chase. Just fix it. Brandon Ayuk got paid. Hit the bed. Amon-Ra St. Brown got paid. Worst game of his life. I can't put Puka on here, but like you're a young man. Why are you getting hurt in week 1? I don't know. Will Levis, Hillshire winner. You were almost on the God Squad, and now look at you. So just shameful. Getting your pants on the field.
Are you dropping Levis?
What?
Are you dropping Levis?
I haven't dropped him anywhere, but he's
How
borderline.
How many performances is it going to take like that for you to consider letting him go for someone else? Because the reality is, who else are you going to start? There's probably some other guys you're going to start, and he was more or less drafted for probably your second quarterback.
Well,
in
yeah, I mean, I'm not starting Levis, but I, in a weird way, still believe, and I don't know what it is. So last year, I'm giving him a pass. This year, like he made some dumbass throws, that's for sure. But I also take into account that apparently the Bears' defense is good. I don't know. So I do want to see like it. To answer your question, probably 2 or 3 more performances like that will do it. So he's not out of the woods or anything, but I drank a Levis latte, so he's in me. So it's a little different.
Okay,
end.
so the end. My Hillshire Award winner is a high-profile player. I got Joe Burrow on the list. You're not dropping
No
Joe
excuse.
Burrow, but bad start to the season last year, gets injured. Bad start to the season this year. Honestly, I'm kind of worried about just like the Bengals offense. I'm worried about like, is them losing that coordinator a problem? I know they have locker room angst. You can't have a player, your best player, unhappy without it affecting the locker room. So for fantasy purposes, I want like the locker room drama to get resolved. Hell, I want T. Higgins to play so Jamar Chase owners can get what they need because I think that affects it as well. And it affects Joe Burrow because he just doesn't have all his weapons available. So worried about Joe Burrow, worried about the offense in Cincinnati overall, not dropping Joe, but man, they're such slow starters in Cincinnati. I think that's every year they come off the blocks really slow. They got to fix that because it just like, well, you end up on these lists. We don't want to put these guys on these lists.
They make
Yeah.
that choice.
They did it to
They brought this on themselves. They chose to play like that, so
Don't blame this on me.
we got a basket for all of you.
So our second award is our most favorite award to talk about because it's where we can rage the hardest, and that's our Sleep Number Shit the Bed Award. So also known as the S the B. These are guys that you're really pissed at. These are guys that in week one, just cranking on one, just a full crank under the sheets.
Oh.
That was the pre rec center one right there. That was right before you went in. Oh no! Oh no! So I don't know if week one sleep number guys are guys you're just like eliminating from your lineup, but for me, the guys I put on the list are guys that I am legit worried long term for my lineup. Because week one, it's hard to I don't know if you would drop any of these guys week one. But so for me, my S to B award winners are Dalton Kincaid and Chris Olave. Dalton Kincaid, truly worried about that offense. We saw the end of the year last year, the big focus on running the ball. Surprise, surprise, the beginning of the year this year, focus on running the ball. The Bills' receiving core is becoming impossible to trust, to figure out. Josh Allen just wants to run all the touchdowns in and not let anyone else have any fantasy points. Like, they've been saying for like 14 years, we got to get the load off of Josh Allen's back. And then the game starts. He's just like, I'm running the ball into the end zone. So, anyways, worried about Dalton Kincaid. I hope he's not anyone's like only tight end because I'm pivoting away from Kincaid in week two. Not good. I'm going to wait and see it before I get into it. Is he your only tight end in one of your leagues, Doc?
I think so, and he's also probably the worst member ever put on a God Squad of all. He went from God Squad to S to B in one game.
And then Olave, I'm legitimately worried about Olave because of like how much people paid for him, and it just doesn't seem like the Saints' offense needs him. I think they're going to be an offense that like runs the ball and like passes out of the backfield, and then just spreads it around like Rashid Shaheed. Much better value, at least in week one, if you had Rashid Shaheed versus what you paid versus what you got. So if Derek Carr stays healthy, I think that they're going to spread the ball around more, and Olave is going to get his, but you're not going to be happy with what you paid in the draft to get him.
He is Chris Olave soft? Like he seems soft. Like I don't know what it is, but just one of those soft ass receivers. I mean he can kick my ass easily, but like speaking here from the comfort of my own home, I think he's one of the softer receivers out there. Just I don't know. I don't even know if he has that puppy in him. You know?
Yeah, he might have like a like a centipede in them or something.
Yeah,
Before
human
we
centipede.
before we touch on the waiver pickups, Rashid Shaheed is only rostered in 44% of leagues, so
Okay.
perhaps a pretty good waiver pickup right there. He's certainly not going to have the same performance every single week, but um, certainly can have that production and plug and play, and hope he pans out in your flex spot. So worth a thought. Um, for my candidates, gold star winners actually, Marvin Harrison on the field 9% of the snaps. You receive 3 targets, 1 reception for 4 yards.
Wow.
That's a big old deuce right there. I don't know why you're not, yo, Kyla, I'm over here. Like, that's a soft spoken guy right there. He needs to assert himself more.
Please, can you please?
Maybe he should message Kyler during a Call of Duty game and
Oh.
tell him to throw me the ball.
Tyler,
Yeah, maybe send him a friend request on Xbox
I'm
Live.
open.
I don't personally. I don't think he's going to make it on this list again. He's A, too good of a receiver. B, he their offense looks really good. They were moving the ball against the Bills' defense. I I think all around they were looking pretty decent. Kyler was looking good. He wasn't making those long passes though, which I think is hurting Marvin Harrison. But I'm not too terribly worried about his outlook. Amari Cooper, these are
Amari
a little
Cooper.
bit better stats, but a little bit worse stats here. 95% of the snaps, 9 targets, pretty good. 2 receptions for 16 yards and a drop in the end zone. Wah, wah, wah. So they, on top of that, they got some bigger issues with quarterback play, but probably James Winston would be a better quarterback than whatever his name is to begin with. He doesn't deserve name recognition at this point in his life. But I think we got the injury. He had a couple injuries on their team with tight end and Jerry Jeudy as well. So perhaps those targets will go up a little bit more for Amari Cooper. I'm fine keeping him, but it's a bit troublesome in that. And Andrews, for what it's worth, double teamed all night. I don't think he deserves this award, but it is what it is. It's an individual award.
All right. So here's why Mark Andrews is here. Isaiah Likely's missed to steal your job. Because that's what he just did to Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, he got the ball and he slipped, and I think that was, even though it's one play, I think that's just foreshadowing of what's happening at the tight end position in Baltimore. B, he looks like a penis in his picture. And then, but yeah, I do agree with basically everyone on here, I guess. But yeah, Drake, that fake ass champagne poppy looking MF over there. Just I don't know. People spent a second round pick on him. Marvin Harrison Jr. a second round pick. Chris Olave second, third round pick. Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, part of that primo tight end group. Cooper might get off of the list soon, but but he's got I don't know, like he's not getting touches because his quarterback's too busy getting his own touches. So it's I don't know, he's got just a horrible citizen of a quarterback that won't get him the ball. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the Sleep Number S, the B award, and these guys definitely the bed.
All right, so clean your sheets. It always feels good to talk about this one last because it helps us feel better so that we're celebrating guys who surprised us. So the McDonald's 11th McNugget Award. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
McDonald's.
That's
You had to
how
be there.
And so so you hit the drive through. They usually pick your order up, but this time they picked it up in a good way. There's an extra nugget in there, and that's what this is about. It's a pleasant surprise. So who are y'all's? Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. We got 8 nugs in this thing.
We got 9.
Oh, what is that?
So that's our first one on the 11th McNugget Award. That is the Lizard King. Alan Lazard has made the 11th McNugget Award list.
Oh my God.
In a night of despair for the New York Jets, he's someone that no one started, but if you did, what a pleasant surprise in your deeper league. You were betting like, all right, I need a good 3 to 4 points here. I'm going to put Alan Lazard in, and boy, did he go crazy. I think he's the number 2 wide receiver in all of fantasy right now, something like that. So Alan Lazard is on there. And then I'll just run through my other 2 because it's some kicker love that I think P-Paul will appreciate. We got Chris Boswell and Big Booty Jake Moody, both with 25 points each. If you have like a double kicker league and you started both, you got a 50 burger out of those men. Yeah. And then I put a fourth. I kind of just kept going and going like a waterfall, man. And I put a fourth one on there, Mr. Jordan Mason. This guy, potential league winner at the beginning of the year. He's nothing special really, but he's in such a system where we saw what he can do. They're gonna give him the ball. CMC has tendonitis of the Achilles, and that just doesn't sound like something that you want to have. Doesn't sound like something that's going to put up a lot of fantasy points. So Jordan Mason, if you have that number 1 waiver wire, don't second guess it. Add that man today, and that's doctor's order.
Ooh, I like that.
Hot take.
And just from the training room perspective, running backs come back from knees and hips and abdominals and shoulders every day. But if you look into it, traditionally running backs don't come back from major Achilles injuries often. That's usually a game killer permanently. So you could understand why they're being super cautious with CMC, him having tendonitis, trying to prevent a major Achilles injuries, a la Aaron Rodgers last year. So yeah, that's very scary for CMC. We're talking, best running back in the league who could have a potentially like career-ending Achilles injury waiting for him if he was to push through. So yeah, Jordan Mason owners like Dr. Dry, people who had that forethought, good move, really good move.
Great people.
I mean, let's not forget how many times McCaffrey's had a season-ending injury. We're like, oh, he's done. And the man comes back and he just destroys the league when he comes back. So who knows what's going to happen with him. Thank God for Chris Boswell. Steelers, you would not have had a single thing if it wasn't for him. So you best be like on your hands and knees, like praying for that guy, because or buying him some Rolexes. He needs something from you because
maybe just your knees.
You better put a pad beneath your knees because you're going to need it by the end of the season.
Yeah, you better be on your hands and knees, or just your knees praying or doing something else for this man.
Maybe even for hours.
So the other guys on this list, Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, you probably didn't start him, but if you did, congratulations. He got you a massive game. 85% of the snaps, 9 targets, 5 receptions, 121 yards with a tutty. St. Brown owners, like we said, you're not going to drop him, disappointed with performance, but 6 targets and 3 receptions for 13 yards. So Jamo Waymo had it all this week, and he's what we were hoping for, trying to solidify himself as that solid wide receiver 2 on the team, and arguably with Laporta. So we'll see where that takes him. I think he looked pretty good. He's just got that brutal speed that will beat anyone up and down the field. So, nug for him.
I was just going to say. Oh.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and JMO, everyone else is happy to be here. He's still mad. He's not smiling. He wants more. So, definitely a big winner this week.
I tell you though, that dude, he's got the personality of like the happiest person on earth. He loves ball. He plays ball. He's a baller, man. He loves ball. Other guy,
hell yeah.
Kenneth Walker, the dude probably runs as nasty as Isaiah Pacheco, but you want him on your team. You don't want to be facing him. That dude will pile drive your ass into the ground. You don't want to be on that defending end. That dude's a man. So he looked awesome on 66% of the snaps. He was out there, 20 attempts, 103 yards, 1 tutty, 3 receptions, 3 targets, 2 receptions. That dude put up a performance, ball out, man. Also, I think Seahawks had the best jerseys of the week, so shout out whoever designed them jerseys. Joe Mixon, same name, new fate, new place. Dude kind of killed it. He's like, F you, Bengals. I'm now with the Texans, and we are destroying everyone. So don't you wish you had me now still? 30 attempts, 159 yards, 1 tutty, and 3 receptions. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Love it. James Conner, 67% of the snaps, 16 attempts, 50 yards, 1 tutty, 4 targets, 3 receptions for 33 yards. Dude killed it. Arizona's offense looks pretty good so far. The first game of the season, we'll see how that continues, but I'd want a piece of that.
Piece of that action. It came into my head. I think JMO and Rashid Shaheed are going to have the same season. I just thought of this. Michael Thomas gets out of the way in New Orleans, frees up space for Rashid Shaheed, who's a deep threat, just like JMO's a deep threat, to become a little more than a deep threat. I think they're going to have the same season. So let's get these guys on our squad. I was already believing in JMO. I always kind of flirt with Rashid Shaheed, but I think I'm believing in both now. So I think that could be a thing. So let's just hang on to that.
They are the same player if you think about it.
Yeah.
They're wide receiver 2, speed. I mean, these guys can ball out and love ball.
So yeah, let's make that a thing. Mine is Cooper Kupp. It was just nice for people to relive the Cooper Kupp days. It was, Puka went out and Kupp went off, and it was just like, oh, this is like 2.5, 3 years ago, Cooper Kupp, when it was just like insanity. So hopefully he keeps that up, doesn't get hurt, everything's rolling. Puka going down really, really sucks. But I think the Rams have that kind of offense like Seattle, where it's just kind of, or like San Francisco, where it's just like, I think we can just plug people in and it works. So hopefully Kupp does well and they can plug in. Who is that hot waiver guy? Do you have them on your waiver list? That receiver.
Are you talking about Whittington or Demarcus Robinson?
Probably Demarcus Robinson.
Okay. Yeah. So
he's got more of a path.
Yeah. So, anyways, plug and play in the Rams territory, and so Kupp may not be out there, but who can you get to be the Puka replacement? So there you go.
I don't. Borderline Kupp is like the cardio king because that dude was in motion before every single snap, out there almost every single snap. Dude like runs marathons for fun on the weekends.
Right. Okay, so are there any waiver ads we need to throw out there before we move on?
I think we mentioned it right there with not Todd, Demarcus Robinson. I mean, Stafford was passing up a storm, so in PPR leagues, I want some of that. Additional guys took a look at Greg Dortch. It seemed like if Kyler Murray was passing, it wasn't to Marvin Harrison. He wasn't asserting his dominance. So, who was doing it, though, was Greg Dortch. So, Dortch is only 3% rostered currently, received 8 targets over this past weekend. So, potential look out for him and Alec Pierce. We saw what bombs that, Richardson threw, and all went to Alec Pierce, and he absolutely destroyed on those. So, I don't know how high I am on that offense, but some deeper leagues, probably like we just talked about, some wide receiver 2s that are the speed threat deep downfield. He's another one of those guys, not really highly talked about compared to these other guys on these more prolific offenses. Tank Bigsby. as a owner of the Etnier, ETN, pinkies up, that's right. I'm a bit worried. Tank Bigsby looking like he's Mr. Come Steal Your Job at some point, because when you fumble in that offense, they aren't too happy about it. So Tank Bigsby, 60% rostered, 32% of the snap share, 12 attempts, and those attempts he did have, he chewed up some yardage.
Can I get a Dale? Yeah, brother.
Wrong tank.
Wrong Tank, but we'll still take it. We'll take it. Obviously, if Tank Dell's out there, grab him, snatch him. He's a small dude. Just grab him. Emmanuel Wilson.
Dude, just grab. That's a good one.
Emmanuel Wilson, backup for Josh Jacobs. With the injury to the quarterback situation they got now, Josh Jacobs seems to be going to be carrying the team on his shoulders. In the event he does get injured, who's the backup? Waiting in knight in shining armor, it's Emmanuel Wilson. Pick him up. Not roster really whatsoever, so take a shot in the dark on him. And other running back I was looking at is Bucky Irving. Mm-hmm. Maybe not a fantastic game, but if their offense is going to move like they did this past weekend, maybe worth a shot in him in some deeper leagues. So those are my hot takes for the waiver wire pickups.
Nice.
Very nice. I have like one or two. So let's see. We got. Make sure you add league winner Jalen Wright. Monitor that Dolphins backfield because I believe Achane and Mostert. Well, I mean, we knew that was going to happen. Are both questionable going into next week. And we know how explosive Achane is. If he's still out there, I do think Wright can carve out a little bit of a role. I think he's built for it. He's explosive. It's one of those where they can both eat, kind of like a Gibbs Montgomery situation. But they're both really fast. And Jalen Wright, he was a healthy scratch this weekend, which felt wrong. It was one of those that was like, I don't think he should be a healthy scratch. I think maybe he should get a carry or two, get him in the game. But Devon Achane last year was a healthy scratch week 1, and now look how fantastic he is. So Jalen Wright, I think, would be a good pickup. The pickup everyone's going for, Jordan Mason. I would say if you don't have the number 1 or 2 waiver priority, if you do the waiver priority thing, and you're not doing fab, then if you don't have that, focus on someone else. You'll probably get that as your first pick. But if you have that 1 or 2 waiver priority, don't overthink it. Grab Jordan Mason. He's going to have a major role in the 49ers offense, and that is a really good system to be a part of. I agree with a lot of what Peepaw just said with the wide receiver pickup. And then Lizard King, if you're in a super deep league, like I wouldn't use it. I don't know. I don't think you can depend on the game that we saw over and over again. But if you're in a super deep league and you really need somebody and there's nothing on the waiver wire, take a look at the Lizard King. And pick his ass up. And he is best friends with Aaron Rodgers, so there's that, and that has to account for something. So that's kind of like my super poor man's like homeless pickup of the week.
For clarification, Alan Lazard, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
If Isaiah Likely is not rostered, he's got to be rostered. He wasn't my McNug because he didn't surprise me, right?
Oh.
You had to throw that in there, didn't you?
I didn't want the episode to end without me saying that.
I mean, it was likely. We'll say that.
But yeah, I mean, there's probably leagues where he's not rostered. If you're in a league with me, he is rostered. But you know what? I didn't start him, so I wasn't bold enough to start him. But he'll be starting this week for me. I think it's for real. So play him. And what we thought, like on some of the podcasts I listened to today, what we thought was a really deep position at tight end this year, all of a sudden is right back where we thought it would be. Not that deep, and maybe even like minus Kelsey, because Kelsey's just chilling, waiting for the playoffs now, and they have more receiving options. And maybe Kelsey isn't such an enormous player as he used to be, and which we saw that in drafts. We didn't see Kelsey going first round like he used to, so he's more appropriately priced. But yeah, so that's waivers, that's awards. Before we get into week 2 preview, we have a very important political message from us. We're controversial guys. Yeah. I'm speaking for the group a little bit here, but it's a very political time. We're going head to head with the debate right now. I know you switched over to us and you're waiting for us to stop before you switch back over to that.
Both of you.
Good call. And Nort, we're going to take a stand tonight. We're going to endorse a candidate, and we want to influence your vote. So yeah, we're going to do that right now.
Hi, I'm Boots Donnelly. Ever since I stopped coaching the Blue Raiders, I've been looking for something to do to fill the day. What better way to pass the time than to be your president in 2024? Vote for me. Vote for Paps. Vote for Boots Donnelly.
Well, he's got a little bit of not necessarily a stutter, but a little pause in thought there.
Yeah, Boots is a thoughtful
He's got
guy.
my vote.
He's not going to be hasty. Every vote for Boots is a vote for Paps. Crack one open. I think he's proposing like a write-off for any Paps purchases. So basically, you can purchase Paps all year. You're not going to pay taxes on it. It's not a bad deal. Along with other things, that's just one of his things. So yeah, sorry, not sorry. We're controversial on this show. Whatever. Wow, look at that. What great timing by Boots, right? This feels like a moment for Boots. So anyways, I hope we didn't lose too many viewers over that, but whatever. I don't care. Loud and proud.
PBR started making this awesome beer 180 years ago in 1844, and we're still drinking it.
Since 1844.
Tasting like shit since 1844. Now in 12 fluid ounces.
Oh, okay.
Vote for
So,
Boots.
week 2 preview. What's coming up? We're going to preview a handful of games here and talk about some things. So, first one is Bills and Dolphins. So, Bills and Dolphins is a Thursday night matchup, interdivision rivalry. A lot of dynamic fantasy players. I think the main story for me is there anyone besides Josh Allen and James Cook you want to start? And then those Dolphins backfield injuries. Dr. J already talked about that a little bit. Are you getting cute trying to play anyone in that Dolphins backfield that you wouldn't normally play?
If getting cute is Jalen Wright, then I would have to be in a deep league. Yes, I said add the guy and league winner and all that, but I don't think they just hand him 30 carries right off the stick. So, I don't know. It depends. If they promise it, then maybe. If you're extremely decimated at running back, I can see that. But the Bills have Dalton Kincaid, Keon Cole, Curtis. They don't have anybody that'll catch the ball. So yeah, I wouldn't be starting anybody on the Bills unless it's Josh Allen. And what's crazy is he's got nobody to throw to, but he'll put up the fantasy points. So anyway, keep running, my man. But yeah, Dolphins. Jalen Waddle, he turned out to be a pretty good second, third round option for you. I think I like that he still produced, and he's someone I was a little down on going in. So let's overreact week 1 style and, keep getting super excited about him.
The as a owner of HAM, I'm trying to figure out who I pick up for my waivers, whether it be Jeff Wilson or Jalen Wright. I don't know who I'm going to do quite yet currently. Either or, I think it's going to be a timeshare regardless. So, really a crapshoot if one of those two starters don't play. Tua, he's still somehow, for all his talent that he's surrounded by, he's still just a mediocre quarterback, which is surprising to me. But if you got other options, potentially start them. Granted, Kyler still did some damage up against that defense this past week, so maybe take a look into your other options and maybe pivot if you can. On the other side, Josh Allen, you don't get called the Superman for putting the team on your back for nothing. Even when you got guys around you, you still got to put the team on your back and fly into that end zone like he does. He is man of the people. Khalil Shakir, if you're in a deeper league, potential. Last week he had 3 targets and 3 receptions. And if you are looking to bet on underdog, what should you do with him? Because he's at a money line of 3.5 receptions. What should you do in the event you want to bet on him?
That's when you go to Underdog Fantasy. Use code Fifth Quarter Fantasy, and Underdog will match your deposit for up to $100. They're probably running a different special now because we haven't updated this since season 1 of Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. But make sure you type in Fifth Quarter Fantasy. Maybe you'll get something for it, but we're only in it for us.
Fantastic. No. Other than that, though, if you're in a deeper league, potentially Shakir. But really, it's Josh Allen, James Cook, and the story.
And Khalil Shakir's hips don't lie.
True that.
Yeah, the Dolphins backfield. They always promise Jeff Wilson. They're like, "Oh, we might run Jeff Wilson this week." They never run Jeff Wilson. Don't get fooled by that stuff.
I've been saying that for decades.
Yeah, like Jeff Wilson, he's just been in the corner like half cocked for like 2 years, and he's just like, and they're like, no, stay. Poor Jeff Wilson. So
everybody loves you, Jeff Wilson.
Just not enough to let you finish.
Just not
You're
like
welcome. You're welcome on our waiver wire.
Okay, so week 2 matchup number 2. We got Rams and Cardinals. So this is the afternoon matchup on Sunday. I think the big story is, does MHJ finish off his HJ and get going? And no Puka. So without Puka, does the whole offense fall apart? Do some of these waiver wire ads pick up? The Kyron thing, we didn't really see much Blake Corum. We saw plenty of Kyron. It was odd. People are pissed. So there's a few things. It seems like the thing with all of them is like who's gonna get going and who's gonna like find their traction and start getting usage.
I think we talked about the Rams offense a good bit in the waivers pickup section. The tight end also is a guy to look at. If you're looking for a tight end to grab, take a look at the Rams. Really, it's Cooper Kupp and who else on that team. So why not the tight end? And if Stafford's just going to dink and dunk the entire time, just tight end's a great spot to do it. So take a look at that. And both these teams are 0-1. Both coming off heartbreak losses. Cardinals are at home. I'm thinking the Cardinals are going to be able to pull this one out. It should be, I think, probably one of the better games of the weekend, in my opinion. The way both teams were playing, somewhat able to move the ball, but I think the Rams are just too decimated at the line to be able to hold off the pass rush of the Cardinals, and Stafford might be in for a world of hurt. But once again, look what Josh Allen's able to do against him. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I really want to see Trey McBride get going. That's someone who, again, in that group of tight ends that I know I was comfortable drafting. And also, I mean, Michael Wilson, I thought he looked good. I think he's showing some promise. Second year receiver. And I mean, if MHJ doesn't start giving HJ or whatever we said he was gonna do, get his HJ off, then maybe Michael will, son, and maybe he will. So I mean, you got that going. James Conner turning back the clock. I think he's one of those dependable backs. It was weirdly like a running back week. Also. So it's and a lot of those, like, if you waited on running back, like those are the ones that came through a lot. So James Conner just ripping people a new one, and then the Rams, it's a lot of waiver wire action going on. I don't know, feels risky, I guess. Trying to guess who that receiver is. I think you're adding them. You're likely not starting them because you're probably not that decimated at receiver to be starting those guys. But again, deep league, add one of those guys to your bench, see what happens. I know they're capable of drafting those late guys like we saw with Puka. And a little bit of a rant on Puka. I know in dynasty leagues I was trying to sell him. I had him up on the trade block because I had him everywhere last year, and I didn't draft him anywhere this year because I had my concerns. I don't know why I had my concerns, but I had my concerns. I was like, I don't think he can do it again. So I don't know. He was off to an okay start, but I do know he was injured often in college, and I think maybe last year was a bit of a surprise. Like, oh, he made it a year. Sort of like if Cooper Cup does that this year, we'll all be surprised. So anyway, Cardinals by 56.
Yeah, I will add James Conner, squeeze out every bit of points. I think James Conner owners have to start him every week until he gets hurt because he's older and he does get hurt. And it's almost
And add
like
Trey Benson at that point.
yeah, like go ahead and like stock yourself up, ready to go. But like different players are going to have different windows throughout the year. James Conner always has the beginning of the year window. He's great beginning of the year until he gets hurt. So just start him every week until he's gone, and then just be happy for what you got out of him.
If he's there at if he's on your team and he's carried you to the trade deadline, trade him then at top value right before he gets hurt.
Move on. That's astonishing work on his
He's
part.
taking the opposite method of what CMC's doing. CMC's like, I'm gonna get hurt, then get healthy. And Connor's like, I'm gonna be healthy, then get hurt. So maybe do a trade at midseason for those guys.
And if CMC was as cheap as James Conner, no one would be pissed right now. Okay, so matchup number 3 in week 2 is Bengals at Chiefs. With the way the Bengals played, the way their defense looked, I'm questioning that this game could get out of hand quickly. And what does that mean for fantasy? The Bengals didn't have much value at running back this past week. If the game gets out of hand, there's no more value at running back. What does that do for your Burrow? Is T. Higgins on the field? Jamar Chase? All that kind of stuff. So, do y'all think this game gets out of hand in favor of the Chiefs? And then what happens based on that?
Actually, if you had Zach Moss, I have him in one of the leagues. Didn't start him, but he didn't do half bad. He was maybe the one bright spot for that team. So as far as running backs are concerned, he didn't do half bad. So depending on how your other running back landscape looks, look into starting him. It's going to be a tough matchup regardless against this Chiefs team. So we saw how low-ish of a scoring game it was against the Ravens when they played last week. But just overall concern for that entire organization in a whole. Just pay your players, make them happy, and maybe they will stop feeling sick for game time and not want to play. So, on paper, it should be a game. I hope it is. Obviously, you're starting all your guys. Chiefs, are y'all starting Xavier Worthy?
Definitely. If I have him, I would start him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think definitely Rashee Rice. starting him, Patrick Mahomes, and Pacheco. Probably those three guys, and you're done on the Chiefs then. And that's my
Yeah,
hot
I
take.
think Rasheed Rice, I think he's the focal point of the offense right now. Everything kind of ran through him. He got the targets. That little slant route that they like to throw him, they set him up perfectly on it every time, right in the middle of the field. They've got that play down. I think it does get out of hand for the Bengals. I don't know. They looked like shit, man. Like it. I started the Bengals defense because I was streaming, and I was like, okay, let's be brilliant and let's not draft a defense, throw someone on IR, pick up a defense later. We'll pick up the Cincinnati Bengals defense because they play the shitty Patriots in week 1. They couldn't stop them. So that backfired, and they got like 3 points or something. So this week's defense, the LA Chargers, but what do I know? So, so anyway, yeah, just trying to target those garbage teams, but week 1, you don't know who those garbage teams are. I know I've been wrong on about every single backfield that's kind of split. Just taking the wrong guy, Chase Brown, Tyjae Spears, there's others, but but yeah, it just doesn't look good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Bengals got to figure some things out, and I don't think this is the game where they do so. I think the Chiefs looked really good against a really good opponent last week, and the Bengals aren't as good as the Ravens. So Chiefs by 68.
All right. Our last matchup we're going to cover before we're out of here is Falcons at Eagles. That's your Monday night matchup. Two loaded teams with tons of fantasy players, kind of like last night. A lot of fantasy players on the field for Monday Night Football. And so Kurt looked terrible. And then that influenced Drake London's value. Kyle Pitts still got his. Bijan got a steady workload, which was nice to see. And then on the Philadelphia side, we saw all the weapons be involved: Saquon and Hurts and Devontae and AJ Brown. Even Donkey Teeth was all right. It wasn't great. He was probably the least exciting of all the players. But so does Kirk find his footing literally and get going here and make this a little bit more of an exciting matchup? And then are there any, surprise players that you're looking out for besides the obvious folks?
I mean, would you not be, if you were Kirk Cousins and you saw TJ Watt down there with like fire coming out his nose, would you not be worried too? I want to get that ball out as fast as I can. So we'll see how they do this weekend against the Eagles. If they look the same this week, I think it's everybody panic, as in the title of the show. There's a dumpster fire going on. It's not going to be pretty. So everyone was high on the Falcons earlier this season. So I just want to see some good football. I don't want to see a blowout. So I'm hoping they put up a good matchup between these two teams. And Eagles at home, I think, just are not going to be able to be beat for this game personally. So I'm going to give it to the Eagles. And really, you're starting all your guys. But if you're a Saquon owner, you got to be over the moon with this last week performance. He got fed and more and more and more and more and more. So goal line touches were all his, and Hurts didn't probably tried in the huddle to be like, "Yo, coach, you think I can have this one?" He's like, "No, man, give it to Saquon." So Saquon owners be happy. Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, of course, you're starting them. Jalen Hurts, start them. Other than that, Donkey Teeth, if you're desperate only. Other than that, on the other side, I would still give him a shot. Give your Kyle Pitts. He did score a touchdown, so that did salvage his week. And then Drake London, give him our shot. See what's worse that happens. You lose week 2. It's still early. There's still time to redeem. You can't lose the season this early, but don't do it.
Worst case scenario, they end up on the sleep number at the bet award.
And no one wants
again. No one wants that. They've already been in there. They don't want to go back. But no, I mean, I saw a blowout just yesterday. My son pooped his diaper and it came out the side. So we don't need to see a blowout on Monday Night Football. I don't think it's gonna. I think we'll start to see what the Falcons can do a little bit. I do think the Eagles are a better team. They're probably gonna win. AJ Brown, like, man, he's one of the first rounders that you could depend on in Week 1. That was great. Anyway, Eagles did look really good, but I think we'll get to see what the Falcons can do a little bit. I think just Steelers defense is really good. Like, great at defense, great at kicking. So, that's a recipe for losing. But I mean, I think Kirk Cousins gets it together. And I think he's like historically pretty good on Monday Night Football and, primetime games and and also, he's a great dad, so, he's had his fair share of blowouts, and he's not going to be on the bad end of this one.
There you go. Yeah, I think Kirk gets it together, gets the Falcons together, and then if not, like, let's just go ahead. I mean, they're not going to do that unless he gets hurt. But I was going to say, let's just rookie quarterback it up and just have like a super dynamic, peepaw.
Peepaw offended and left. And our viewers are gone. Wow. Magic trick.
Well, trying to keep it interesting at the end of the show.
They were here for the peeps.
Okay, so we'll be back with more awards with our Week 3 preview and maybe more political messaging or advertisements. Happy 180th year anniversary to Pat's Blue Ribbon, making subpar beer since 1844.
That's the bad stuff.
Fueling your frat party since 1844. So, so I'll do it. There's 5 things you're supposed to do when you leave here. You have to do them or you're cursed. So you need to live, laugh, love, like, and subscribe. Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast.